and welcome to WorkPro. My name is Tania Evans and I'm your host for today's session on the New Zealand Ministry of Justice checks. So as an administrator, your role is to request a candidate to complete an MOJ check for whatever purposes are required. And so on that, you'll log in to the platform as an administrator. And once you're in the platform, what you'll do is send a request to either one or several candidates. So clicking on the request button, sending a request to a new candidate, or you're sending a bulk request. So just starting on sending a single request to a single person. Continue and entering the candidate's name and the candidate's email address that you'd like to do the MOJ check. And coming over here and looking at background checks, and you're now selecting the Ministry of Justice check. So once you've determined the task that needs to be completed, in this case an MOJ, you're clicking Send Request. So once the request has been sent, the candidate will receive an email with a live link and a single-use token. For the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to grab that token from the track request area. And in this track request area, if the person hasn't completed the task in a certain period of time, the system will take over and start emailing that person, reminding them that a task still remains outstanding. You can also see the token here, and you can also click View to have a look at the task that has been sent, the email address and the person that it's been sent to. So quite useful. Once the candidates received their link and their single-use token, they need to sign up to the platform, entering their first name, their surname, their email address, mobile, and the password they would like to use. So I'm just going to click back here because I've got a candidate that's already been set up in the platform. So candidate and logging in. And entering the single-use token that's been provided in that email. Clicking Continue. And you can see here, I've been requested to do a background check. No, I haven't. I've been asked to do a citizenship and work rights check. All right, that's not going to work. So Ben, just ignore this bit for me. I'm just going to log out. And I'm just going to log in, Ben, and just see if there is something sitting there. So I'll click resume a session and see if that picks it up. Okay, so Ben, you can start recording again. Once the candidate's logged into the platform and entered their token, they'll arrive at this screen, which is, in this case, background check has been requested, Ministry of Justice check. So clicking on this, so the candidate can complete this Ministry of Justice check on any device. So laptop in this case, mobile, Android, Apple, iPad, whatever they desire. So the information is now being requested, which is my name, in this case, my primary name. I've got a maiden name as well. Filling out my birth details, date of birth, gender, where I was born, and the city and town that I was born. The contact details, so my email address in this instance. And my mobile number and addresses. Filling out my residential address. The MOJ expect to see 5 years of address history. So clicking Next. And it's now asking me to upload a copy of my identity document. So it must be a government issued photo ID. Clicking on desktop, I'm just going to find an identity document here. And there we go. And that can be accepted as a PDF, a JPEG or a GIF. And clicking Next. And now I'm acknowledging that I give consent for a Ministry of Justice check to be undertaken. So agreeing to the terms and conditions. And yes, I would like a copy of the information provided to the third party to be sent via email. The alternative is by post. And then I'm e-signing and submitting the check for processing. Once I close this window, you'll see that the Ministry of Justice check is down here with the status of in progress. So logging out of the platform, you've now received an email as an administrator letting you know that an MOJ is ready to be viewed and processed. So very easy process for the candidate. Within a few clicks, they can have their MOJ application ready for processing and submission. As an administrator, I'm now back in this portal, and you can see the MOJ check is ready to be reviewed. So the benefit of using WorkPro for your MOJ checks is that you can also choose the turnaround time that suits you. So if you would like a fast turnaround, you'd be choosing a 4-day check. If you don't mind and you want to pay a little less, you can wait for 16 days. So in this case, I'll just choose gold 4 days. There's also an optional window here where you can add a cost centre or a project code, and that information will be displayed on your reconciliation. And clicking next, and you can see here that I can view the consent form that was uploaded and the information entered by the candidate, and my electronic signature, which is date and timestamp. I can choose to replace that if there is something wrong in that application form. I can download the new form. So if the person's sitting with you, you might like to download the new form where you can correct the form, they can re-sign it, they can date it, and then you can re-upload it, or you can reject it. If the person decides to put an X next to their signature as an example, or they didn't upload the correct ID, you might like to reject that check. An email will be sent back to the candidate inviting them to correct the error and resubmit the check. And moving on and having a look at the identity document. And that's all in order. If it wasn't, so if it's unclear as an example, so the ministry won't be able to validate the person's identity, that will be rejected by the ministry. So it's best case, have a look at that identity document, make sure you're comfortable with it. Their identity can clearly be seen along with their signature. Again, you can replace the ID if it doesn't match, or you can reject the ID with an email going back to that candidate. But if all is in order, you would now be submitting that check. So the check has now been submitted to the ministry, ready for processing. Once the check has been finalised, you'll get a status update in this window here, which is finalised, and you'll receive an email letting you know that the check has been finalised and inviting you to log into the platform to view the outcome of that Ministry of Justice check. That is the end of the tour today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.